This is Rise. Let's lock in with the goal of changing one life at a time. Yours. Together, let us rise up, inspire, strengthen, and elevate our minds. It's time to rise on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saran Heron, and welcome to Rise. Today we are going to talk about unconditional love for oneself and learning to speak life into our life. Stephanie Bailey is a certified master life coach, the CEO of Miss Adventures, LLC, 3-time #1 bestseller author, and #1 release. Her mission is to empower women on all aspects of love. She strongly believes in the power of prayer and affirmations to ignite and create the love, health, wealth, success, family, abundance, relationships, and prosperity we want in our lives. She is a podcaster, public speaker, published writer, over 250 articles between hubpages, Paired Life, and Elephant Journal. Stephanie has been mentoring women for over 25 plus years. She is here today to talk about changing negative thinking, not filling your head with what bothers you, but how to attract what you desire in life. Stephanie Bailey, welcome to Rise here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, unconditional love. Everybody has their own definition. I'm wondering, how would you define that for us?
Unconditional love is when you can love yourself fully, your flaws. And when I say flaws, we all have them, but our imperfections. We can embrace it all and unconditionally love ourselves enough to the point that when we know something is not going right in our lives, we're able to use our voice to speak up. We're able to walk away from a situation that is not serving us. And that doesn't mean that one strike you're out. You know what I'm saying? That means that if something, if your happiness meter is, here at a level 10 at the highest, and you meet somebody and your partner is bringing your happiness level, I would say below a 6, that's probably an indication that that is not your right person.
Agreed. You tend to think that we, which are people, sabotage their own self with our perceptions of how our life should be. Speak to me about that.
Yeah. So, it's natural, normal to create timelines about when we're supposed to get married, even when we're supposed to go to college, maybe even what degree we're supposed to have when we go to college. A lot of times that is put in our heads by our parents or whoever has raised us. It even goes as far as having those timelines. I think I said like having children, when we're supposed to have this career, when we're supposed to make a certain income. All of those things are actually blockers when it comes to love. It really does hold us back from what we really want when we put these timelines on things.
I think we all do that, or we put a timeline on our age, per se. When I'm a certain age, I have to have this. Now, you made a reference to love blockers. So those that may be listening who are not familiar with love blockers, define that for us and maybe give us some examples of what some of those things can be.
Love blockers are really anything that you say or do that is negative. Mostly, it's the words that we say in our head. So we can look at ourselves in the mirror and say, oh, like for me, I can say, I love my hair.
Right.
And then I could follow it up with a, but I wish I was more fit, but I wish I was taller, but for me, I wish I was darker. Whatever that case might be for that person, that's a love blocker. Anytime we put those negative thoughts into our head, which is called comparison syndrome, we usually get that now from social media more so than when I grew up. We compare ourselves. We're on social media, scrolling. We are comparing ourselves. We're putting those negative words into our heads. One of the biggest ones I hear from my clients is, well, I don't know if I could find somebody better than ... And so then they hang on to these relationships that are not healthy for them. And that's a love blocker. Because when we hang on to something that's not healthy for us, whether it's a relationship, a job we're unsatisfied in, whatever the case might be, that is a love blocker.
Now, you also believe that we could attract things to our life accidentally. Speak to me about that. How do we accidentally attract things to our life?
It happens to all of us. It's happened to me, where I've had to have a retalk with God. So it's literally when we say, for instance, I want a relationship with a man who will take me on vacations and compliment me and make dinner for me, right? We're going to say those two things.
Right.
And we leave out the important things because we think in our heads like, oh, well, God should know that I don't want somebody who's going to disrespect me or hit me or emotionally abuse me. No, that is not the case. You need to be clear exactly what you want out there so that you get what you want into your life. And that doesn't mean creating a long list of things that are actually blockers, right? Because we're like, he's got to be 5'6", he has to make this income, he has to drive this car. Those are love blockers. You got to let those go. I'm talking about the 5 non-negotiables that you really need in a relationship to make it work out. That's what I'm talking about. And you have to be very specific. One time I wasn't. And the funny thing is, I got exactly what I asked for.
Right.
And then I looked and I was like, oh, wait, I was not specific enough to say exactly what I really, really wanted because this person did not have that. And so each time that I dated, because I dated a lot of men before I found my partner, I became more and more clear about what I wanted. And you want to be careful because you don't want to put out I don't want a man that's going to abuse me, because all the universe, all God's hearing is abuse, right? Not saying that God's going to send you somebody who's abusive, but you want to be careful that those words are redefined into positive. So you want a man who respects you. You want a man who loves you. You want a man who supports you. You want a partner. We're going to say partner because this isn't just about men, but a partner who is, supportive in your life. And what does that look like for you?
So we got to be clear.
Very clear.
That's our takeaway from this.
I made that mistake when I wasn't. So
now, you also advise people to think twice before complaining. Why is your belief that is important, that we think twice?
We all have done this again. These are all learning experiences because, how I coach women, the love coaching I do is not just based on my certification. It's also based on my life experiences. And through my life experiences, what I always say is take a couple breaths. It's not going to happen all the time. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But it's taking that breath that when you're pissed or upset or not happy about a situation, pause, breathe, maybe walk away. Maybe you're just walking upstairs or walking down the street to really ask yourself, is this something that I need to share? We all know when it's something where that's not okay and that's a definitive, and then there's just nitpicking. And I've been guilty of the nitpicking. So it's about saying to yourself, is this something that I really need to talk about? Or is this just going to be something that's nitpicking, that's going to cause my relationship, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with your boss, whether it's with a friend or a family member, is it going to cause distance?
Good explanation. I think I'll think twice. Now, for 26 years, you've been on a journey to educate individuals about various aspects of love. Now, I want to know, and I think my guests are all curious, or our listeners are curious, why are you so passionate about this?
Honestly, I feel God has put me on this earth to do this. Since high school, I have been giving advice. People come to me, they gravitate to me, and my knowledge comes beyond what I can even tell you that I've even learned. It is a natural gift that I was born with. And I feel very, very grateful for it. It's something where sometimes I will be giving advice. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had a tape recorder because that was really good what I said. Right. And it's not even being egotistical. It's just, I have a passion for empowering women. That is my niche. That is what I'm all about, is empowering women, because I feel that when we empower each other, we're stronger. I love seeing empowering women like yourself. It makes me say, wow, that is amazing. That is so amazing. And I feel every woman, if we empowered each other more instead of tearing each other down, we could literally rule this world. No offense, Ben, but we really could.
Agreed. Just about lifting each other up from where we are.
Yes.
Now, Stephanie, you also believe in spiritual affirmations or something that you find useful. How can someone apply them to one's life? And speak to us about some of your spiritual affirmations.
Well, the interesting thing is that I do have a second book coming out that's called Spiritual Affirmations. It's going to be coming out, cross my fingers because I always believe there's a divine timing for everything. But my goal is before Easter. My first book that came out before that about affirmations it's called Love Affirmations, Manifesting the Life That You Desire. And I believe in general with all affirmations, whether affirmations, prayers, statements that you're making, when you say them over and over and over again, they come to fruition. And affirmations aren't just about saying, it's about believing. I do not believe in New Year's resolutions. I just think that is just something that, honestly sets us up for failure, because we can sit there and say, oh, my New Year's resolution is to stop eating sugar, to stop drinking, or to lose whatever weight, or to whatever. And half the time we fail. And when we fail, it gets into our heads that we're not good enough. And so I believe instead to replace that with affirmations that you want in your life. So if an affirmation, for instance, I'm going to open up my Love Affirmations book because I don't have my spiritual affirmations with me. But the one I just opened up to is, every moment on my journey makes me wiser and more open to love. And so by saying that and feeling that is what's going to come to fruition in my life. But again, it's about really believing in you, believing that you deserve everything that you want in this world and you are unstoppable. And so many times we don't believe that because we have those voices in our head from our past, whether it's trauma, whether it's how we grew up, whether it's siblings, whether it's our parents, it could be a teacher. Right? Because we suck up so much when we're younger and then affects us later on in life.
You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking to Stephanie Bailey, who is a certified master life coach, CEO of Miss Adventures LLC, 3-time #1 bestseller author, and #1 new release. Her mission is to empower women in all aspects of love. She strongly believes in the power of prayer and affirmations to ignite and create the love, health, wealth, success, family, abundance, relationships, and prosperity we want in our lives. She is a podcaster, public speaker, published writer, over 250 articles between hubpages, Paired Life, and Elephant Journal. Stephanie has been mentoring women for over 26 plus years. She is here today to talk about changing negative thinking, not filling your head with what bothers you, but how to attract what you desire in life. Now, Stephanie, we've been talking and you gave some great practical examples of how you do affirmation in your life. Now, if you had to share with our listeners, what are some examples that you could give that they could begin starting to do spiritual affirmations or just affirmations in general in their life?
It's really sitting down, close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want? So oftentimes we don't take that pause to ask. And if you are in a relationship and just say you're feeling unheard, then an affirmation would be, my partner is hearing me today with lovingness, openness, trust, and support. Because the more we say what we want from the relationship instead of focusing on what we don't want, such as my partner never listens to me. My partner always, and that was one of the things I can tell you, Dr. Heron, is I do not like when people use always and never, right? Because if you are with somebody who's always negative or never listens to you, why are you with them?
Right.
We all have a moment where maybe we're not going to be listening at times or be as supportive as at times, depending on what's going on in our lives. But hopefully you're not with somebody that's always doing something. If you want a career or a job that's speaking to your heart, then you close your eyes and really look at what that looks like for you. So for me, I'm an author. I'm also a love coach. So if my affirmation, just say I had never written a book and I wanted to write a book, my affirmation would be, I see a successful book that is touching the world and changing the world in miraculous ways. that would be an affirmation.
Right, great example. Now we're talking about love, and many individuals are always in search of a perfect partner, and I think you gave some great tips about that. What other advice can you offer from your experience and expertise? I know you do workshops and you do virtual workshops to help individuals with this area in their life.
So say that again. So you said I'm doing workshops, and then I'm sorry, that first part.
The question is that we're talking about love, and many individuals are in search of a perfect partner. And from your experience, your expertise, and you do workshops for virtually and in person, what advice can you offer our listeners today?
So I'd say if you're looking for the perfect person, ask yourself, would I date myself? So oftentimes when I ask that question to my women who I coach, the answer is no.
Wow.
So they will say that they want a partner who is financially stable, who has a great home, a great car, whatever. And I ask them, okay, this is, you're putting this out there. However, would you put yourself in the same category? Would you date yourself? Because I think it's important that we always work on ourselves first. And that's what I coach. First and foremost is self-love. If you can't love yourself unconditionally, who can? And we can get into relationships, right? Most of us can get into a relationship, but it's about if you want a lasting, successful relationship. And also being okay that if the relationship doesn't work, not staying in it because now you've posted it on social media and you feel like, whoa, now everybody knows, now I'm stuck. We're never stuck in a relationship, ever. So if your relationship isn't working after a year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever it might be, know you are the number one priority. And if you love yourself first and foremost, that is the key. And even getting deeper, I believe if you love God first and foremost, then yourself, then things will work out even in a greater advantage for your life.
Absolutely agree. Now, you have written 3 bestsellers and you continue to write, so congratulations. And you mentioned earlier, too, that you wrote it, Manifesting Life You Desire, which is one of your latest books. I know during that time you got ill yourself and you still managed to write from your heart. Share that moment with us.
So when I wrote Love Affirmations, Manifesting the Life That You Desire, I actually became really ill in March. I'm still going through treatments and at-home stuff right now to get myself better. But during that struggle, I was trying to come up with another book because I have other books that I'm writing and it was not coming out naturally. And I took a deep breath and I meditated and I prayed. And God said to me, you need to just take a step back and write a book that is going to help not only empower people, but really manifest the life that they want and desire. And so I started writing this book. The book was launched in October. I started writing it in August. I want to say August, September. It was very quick, is when I started writing it. And it came very easy. I mean, it was just like, I felt like God was coming through me as I was writing the pages. And the affirmations were really about, and they are, I just read one too, but just about finding that positivity in your life. So that if you're going through something, you hold the book in your hands, you ask, what do I need to know right now? And you open to that affirmation that's meant for you. In the beginning of the affirmation book, it's a 4x6 book, so it's easy to carry wherever you go. I do talk about why I wrote the book and why it was important to me and how affirmations have come true in my life, as with most people. So often we don't even realize that we're manifesting things until we get it, right?
Agreed. Now, you mentioned earlier about self-love being very important, and why is it important? And obviously there's benefits. But for those that may be listening who are struggling with self-love, what advice can you offer to them today?
Well, one would be come see me. Two would be ask yourself why.
Right.
So often self-love is lacked because of trauma. And I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. And I realized trauma can either take control over your life and put you in a place of saying, I am not worthy of, and fill in the line. Or you can take that trauma and empower yourself from that trauma and become a better person. And one of the biggest steps to self-love is forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for whatever you feel has caused the trauma or the negative experience in your life, and forgiving the person as well. And when I say forgiveness, this does not mean that when you forgive somebody, you let them back in your life or you reach out to them. This is about forgiving to take your power back, to make you stronger as an individual.
Wonderful point. You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking to Stephanie Bailey, who is a certified master life coach, the CEO of Misadventures LLC, 3-time #1 bestseller author, and #1 new release. Her mission is to empower women in all aspects of love. She strongly believes in the power of prayer and affirmations to ignite and create the love, health, wealth, success, family, abundance, relationships, and prosperity we want in our lives. She is a podcaster, public speaker, published writer, over 250 articles between hubpages, Paired Life, and Elephant Journal. Stephanie has been mentoring women for over 20 plus years. She is here today to talk about changing negative thinking, not filling your head with what bothers you, but how to attract what you desire in life. Now, Stephanie, those who are listening on the program are probably deciding, okay, I need to change the way that I love myself. I want to find the perfect partner. I want to find the perfect job. What advice do you want to give to our listeners who want everything perfect?
There's no such thing as perfection. So if you're seeking perfection, you're setting yourself up for failure. What you want to seek is love. Love is not perfect. Love is work. Self-love is work. It's a journey that is forever going until you are in the grave, or like me, cremated once I pass away. But it really is. But it's the most rewarding journey you'll ever have. It's priceless. And so whenever we put perfect on something, then we're already setting somebody up or a situation up for failure. There's no perfect job. Even though I love what I do and I love coaching women and I love being an author and I love all aspects of that, it's not perfect. Mm-hmm. There's always challenges. There's always going to be the ebbs and flows in life, but that's what makes it even more exciting and even more rewarding.
Agreed. Now, you've written many articles. 250 is a lot of articles. What inspired you to continue to write and wanting to write? What is your inspiration behind that?
It's actually kind of funny. So before I started writing articles, I have a book called 99 Types of Guys, a humorous collection of dating tips and misadventures. And I wrote this back in 2010 is when I finished it. And it originally was a book that was supposed to be a book in my 20s, in my 30s, and in my 40s is how I was going to divide the book. Well, we ended, putting it into one book. And, I have a great illustrator. When I sent the book off, I didn't get a lot of publishers saying yay, because they had similarities or books that they were working on with other people. And again, it's all about the divine timing. So I put the book down, and that book was originally being written because a guy friend of mine, one of my best friends in high school, said to me, "You have dated a lot of men. You should write about it." So I actually started jotting down descriptions of these types of men on pieces of paper, right, sharing them with my friends. And I wouldn't put people's names in it because I'm not about bashing anybody. Right. And my friends would say, "Oh my gosh, I've dated that type of guy." So then after I put the book down and I said, there will be a time when this book will come out, and it's not now. So then I started writing a blog, and I called it Miss Reflections. And I'd write about all sorts of things, being cut off by a car, how I felt about that, whatever went on in my life. Right. I just wrote. And through that, Elephant Journal saw one of my blogs, and a friend of mine knew one of the head people from Elephant Journal, and they said, "Who is this Miss Reflections? Would she like to turn in an article into Elephant Journal?" So, of course, the doubts went in my head, because that's what happens when you are finally seeing your passions come to fruition. But that just means you want it more. When you're scared and you're doubtful, that just means you want it more. So I submitted an article. They loved it. And so I started writing for Elephant Journal. And then through there, my journey took me on to writing for hubpages.
Wonderful. Now, if you could leave one advice with our listeners today, what would that be?
My advice, my biggest advice, is to love yourself first and really understand that that is not materialistic. It's not about what car you drive, what house you live in, how much money you have, the clothes you wear, what you look like on the outside. God has made us lovingly perfect in his own vision. We are all beautiful, and there is always going to be somebody that will see your beauty and want you for you. But first, you have to want you for you. So my biggest advice is to just love yourself unconditionally. Like I said, the flaws, the imperfections, the struggles, the doubts, the fears, all of that first. That would be my number one advice.
Now, how can listeners connect with you if they want to get in touch with you? Do you have a website, or how do they reach you?
Yes. So I have a website. It's called miss-adventures.com. That is my website. You can see how I coach and my pricing and me, and get to know a little bit more about me. I also, you can follow me on Instagram. It is miss-adventures_coach, COACH.
We appreciate you coming on the program to share with us your expertise.
Thank you. And by the way, Dr. Heron, I started reading your book.
Wonderful.
I love it so far. So just so you know, I was hoping to get it done by today, and I didn't get a chance to finish it by today. But
thank you.
I also want to commend you on your book, and I just think it's just fabulous.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Saran Heron. Be sure to not let negative thinking hold you back from living your best life. Begin by taking steps to welcome the good things you desire for your life, positive speaking, and learn to love yourself unconditionally. It is never too late to change your life and rise. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Rise, available wherever you listen to podcasts, and always right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.